I can see this small group. We aren't sure if there are still people coming in, but this session just kind of talks about a lot of like emergent reading skills that we can kind of teach, so that then you can apply the skills and know more about what we do at school, so you can do it at home to better like help support your child as they develop with their reading. I don't think it is because it's not FSPN. Technical.
I'll just introduce myself. I'm Ms. Richards. This is Mrs. Weiner, and this is Ms. Moore. And we are all primary teachers. So what we're going to talk a little bit about is reading at home and why is it important. And it's studies have shown that if you reading 20 minutes a day directly impacts the academic achievement in your child. It is really important to at least have little downtime with them and just to read with them. They can read along while you read with them. So here are some of the, it said student A reads at home 20 minutes a day. Student B reads at home 5 minutes a day. So it's definitely really important that if you read, you will definitely see, if they read with you and you with them, you will definitely see a great improvement in their reading. Reading, how to practice at home. For example, you can sit or lay in a position so that you and your child can both see the book. Nightly reading is the best practices. And there's a website that, yes.
We found this video and thought it was really great because it goes over like just a lot of really great things you can do at home when reading with your child.
Pardon the interruption. Parents, please take your children to the cafeteria first to eat. From the cafeteria, they will be taken to the child care locations. The kindergarten through second graders will be in the library, and the third through fifth graders will be in the gym. Any children that do not attend Kingswood need to stay with their parents. Thank you.
This like isn't our laptop, it's Miss Holston's laptop, and so we're like trying to figure out her laptop.
Yeah, it's funny how you used to your own thing and
I think hers is like this.
oh, it's up, going up.
I'm just trying to know if that's gonna work. I don't know. Or we can just give up and talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, we can just talk about it. Does that work?
Sure. Okay. So studies have shown that if we read to our child at least 20 minutes every night, it really has a great impact on how well they do, starting very young all the way up through middle school, high school, college. For example, practice retelling and beginning, middle, ending, and middle and end of the story is in sequential order without looking at the story. For example, when we read, we can, after reading, we can ask the child, could you tell me the story? You can start at the beginning. What happened in the story? What happened in the middle of the story? What happened at the end of the story? This builds comprehension also. Student can log into Reading Ed. For example, we have a program here at school, and I'm sure you're aware of it. It's called Reading Ed.
And you may have sent them this paper in your child's folder, and it has their username and password.
there are books that reads to your child, and that's another way of helping them become better readers.
Okay, so the next important thing to know about is sight words. Your child has probably come home and practice saying, reading, or writing some of the sight words. The ones we were working on this week, like I can see into the. So sight words are words that are frequently seen in books that your child is going to be reading, and knowing the words will help them be more successful in reading, because if they're able to recognize the words really quickly, it'll help them become fluent readers. And memorizing them is the key, because sight words don't follow all the time the rules that we teach in the English language. For example, the word to, we teach them that O makes the ah sound, so trying to sound out to or go, they won't be the same. So memorizing words helps them to be more fluent in reading. And every 2 weeks, we're going to send home a new list of sight words. So working with your child on these sight words is going to be very important. We work with them a lot in school.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you can listen for one more announcement, and hopefully that'll be it until the session ends. I want to make one slight correction. K through 2 are going to go to the K through 2 are going to the gym, and 3 through 5 are going to the media center. And we have movies for children to watch with popcorn. And those children who are below school age will stay with the parents in the sessions. Thank you so much for coming. This is going to be a wonderful
They'll
event.
probably put them in their correct location if you've already dropped them off. So I think you'll be good.
I swear it says library right there.
Yeah, they changed things a lot at last minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to send home new sight words every 2 weeks. So we do work on them a lot in school, but working with them at home is also going to be very important, just because these words are so frequently seen in books that it's easier if they memorize them so they can more fully read. So some different ways you can practice at home. You can type any sight word into YouTube. You can just say sight word song for see or can. And there's a lot of resources on YouTube that like fun songs that they can listen to. We could demonstrate. I don't know if that's going to work.
I would just, yes.
Another thing you can do that's really fun, you can build sight words with household items like Legos. Play-Doh is another really fun one, or take chalk outside and write, or write on paper inside. And shaving cream, if you are willing, you can put some on a table or a little tray and write their sight words in the shaving cream. That's a really fun way to practice and get the motion down. Another good way is locating sight words in a book. So opening books you have around the house, or looking at a menu, or another kind of print around the house, and having them try to find different sight words. And then also just practicing writing them is also really helpful.
And then we'll talk about phone means citation letterland. So first, why it's important is letterland allows us to form the letter sounds, and more than just like the basic letter sounds, but whenever there's things, the sounds like R, A-R, there's a story for that, or sh, S and H. There's like all these stories. So it teaches more than just letter sounds, but it teaches different digraphs, and we teach blends and R-controlled vowels, all those things. So it just helps us learn a lot and have a story to go along with the letters and the sound that they make. And it helps just letter formations become characters, and it gets them really into learning about the letter names and telling all the stories. And it also, letterland helps teach how to isolate sounds to help them write words independently. So for how you can practice at home, if you go to YouTube and search Letterland Mega Mix, there it comes up and it's a big long thing of all the Letterland songs. So it starts with Annie Apple and it goes all the way to Zigzag Zebra. With Annie Apple, she says ah, she says ah, and it goes along with all the songs. So they I'll play it sometimes during rest time because they love to watch it, and it'll help them learn the sounds quicker if they need it. And then, so the rubber band trick, this is what we do to stretch out a word, to isolate the sounds. So like, for example, if we were doing the word cat, we would start with cat. And then to be like, okay, what's the first sound you hear? And for the first sound, we do a little bit differently. And we do we're going to start, and as soon as we start, we're going to stop. We're like, what sound did you hear? Who makes that sound? Clever cat. And then for the middle sounds, we'll be like, cat. And then, oh, what sound did you hear when I was shaking my hands? Ah. Oh, who says ah? Annie Apple. And then cat. So that kind of helps them figure out, like, which sound am I focusing on when sounding out. And it works well with longer words, too. And so that's for sounding out when writing, to figure out all the sounds that you hear and to then write it down. For reading, for blending sounds, we do something called the roller coaster trick. And this, you blend them so if you were looking at the word cat, and they will know, and this works once they've already learned all the basic sounds. If they saw cat, they'd see k-at. But they aren't able to blend it together at first. They just know k-at. But so what we do is we first do k-at. And it's like, oh, it's a bumpy roller coaster. We need to make it smoother. So then you make you blend the first two sounds together and go cat. And then eventually cat. So it helps them to take the sounds and blend them together so it becomes a word. And so whenever reading, and then that works if there's a little longer. Now if it's a really long, complicated word, that doesn't work as well. But we also teach a lot of, if it's a really simple book, there's a lot of picture help. So we tell them like, oh, look at the picture. What do you see in the picture that starts with this word? To help them with things like that. Like if it's, like I read a book earlier yesterday that was about the humongous cat, how they fed it all this stuff. So it would start with like, oh, and they fed the cat 2 cans of milk and 3 cans of cat. And then I did like for food, I had everything covered up except for the first sound because they may not know, oh is ew. So I said, look at the picture, cat, what do you see in the picture? So that's another way to help with words that have sounds that they may not necessarily be familiar with yet. And when your child is sounding out words when writing, encourage them to just write the sounds that they hear in the words, even if it's not how you spell the word exactly. Because I notice a lot of students sometimes are very dependent on like, oh, I can't do it, I need your help. And then they're just stuck not writing because they're so focused on wanting to spell the word correctly. So you just focus on trying to write down the sounds they hear in the word. And that is good enough. So like, for example, if they're writing the word light, and they hear like, I-t. If all they write is L-I-T, then that's sufficient. Or if it's too hard and all they hear is the ul and t at the beginning and end, then writing L and T is sufficient as well for right now. And then try not, like I said, to always tell them how to spell the word because they'll become dependent. But I will tell them, like if they're writing the word ship and they don't know what makes the sh sound, then I will kind of real quickly be like, oh, well, Sammy Sneak and Harry Hatman said sh because, and like really quickly go over and then say, so it's S and H for sounds that they aren't familiar with yet. But that's just like if they already know this sound and they just aren't sure which letters to write to make the sound. Okay. And there's just some, I'm going to go ahead and give you a few reminders. So, first of all, we have in the back a bag of like index cards you can take in this sight word list that you can take home and you can write the sight words on the index card and do things like having a scavenger hunt around the house. And we have the current ones. But we know that some of you, like your student, may already know the current ones, and maybe even some of the upcoming ones, so you can focus on the ones that your student doesn't know. If they don't know the current sight words, then you can focus on those a lot because we're moving on Monday. But if they do already know those, and if they already know like in or on, then just kind of pick the words, maybe have them read it, and the ones they don't know, really focus on it, because these are words that come up a lot in books. And a few other things I was thinking about as we were going over things is whenever they do their like official reading comprehension, like reading where they have to read us a book and then retell, they can only read it one time. Then we take the book away and start at the beginning and tell me what happened. And they have to be able to like retell the beginning, middle, and kind of sequentially what happened in the story. And that's why Ms. Richards kind of went over retelling at home. Because in the past they've been able to read the book twice before. But this year they switched it and they can only read it once and then they can't read it anymore. Or if it's nonfiction, they have to tell the main idea and then the details. So we have to say, what's the main idea and details? So the main idea, if it's just like animals at the farm, would be, oh, it's talking about different animals live on the farm. Then where are some details? Oh, it said a horse lives on a farm and a cow lives on a farm. And then just a few other quick things. Tomorrow we are sending home a lot of paperwork about field trips and t-shirts. So just look through it and pay attention to the due dates. Very important, please. We will have a primary specific t-shirt that they'll wear on field trips. It's optional, but you can bring, we're hoping that a lot of people will order the t-shirts because it helps us to keep up with them on field trips, and it's cute and different from the regular Kingswood t-shirt. And this is due in a week. On next Thursday. So please turn it in because it's optional, so if it's not turned in, they won't be getting a t-shirt. And then we have a field trip overview, and you can feel free to pay for all the field trips at once or just one field trip at a time. And just label everything you're paying for when seeing an envelope. You're paying for all the field trips plus the t-shirt, and an envelope or Ziploc bag, right? Like for the Phillips Farm field trip, a Marbles field trip, high school theater, and the t-shirt. So that we know. And yes, and if you would like to chaperone, you can sign up as well. And one snack and water, no juice for snack. Label all money. And if you haven't signed up for class time, please do it. I know that you guys are signed up for it. So. And that's everything for this. Any questions?
When did they do the reading a book and telling you that? How long is that out?
So we have it at the middle of the year and then at the end of the year, but they have different benchmarks. So even at the middle of the year, I think they have to be at a level B. So they still have to do it, but it's really like simple.
How do we tell where they are, like, to even begin? I mean, I know we can do some of this, but how do we get updated throughout the year, other than the quarterly report card?
Yeah, so you'll have the report cards and interims, and then we will be having like parent-teacher conferences coming up, and that's normally like at the very end of the quarter. And then after we do the middle of the year in class, it's what's called for like reading assessment, where they're reading to us. Whenever we do that, we send home a thing, I think, with the second quarter report cards, sending information about how they scored then.
Okay.
And it will also have phone examination, which is where they're telling, like, if it's the word toast, going to oats, and doing things like that. And we'll send information about how they score with the report cards. Any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I guess we can flip